Hello, and welcome to my life on film 2002. Again, we're just looking at the films that had the biggest impact on my growing life through the year 2002, and now we have finally got to a stage where we have to jump up to 30 because there were, quite frankly, too many movies I enjoy. Number 30 is Ghost Ship. Now, Ghost Ship is popular because of that amazing opening sequence that will stick with you for ages. But the idea of the mystery being unfolded on the ship is something that I enjoyed about this movie. It does also have a very good star cast, which a lot of actors went on to bigger and better things, including one of Carl Urban's very early roles. But a ghost story that has plenty of entertainment value and some good scares along the way. 29 is Eli Roth's Cabin in the Wood. No, Cabin Fever even, not Cabin in the Woods. And this one is one that showed what he was going to be doing as a director with his very twisted, gore-filled movies, where a plague in the water slowly starts to infect everyone, and we follow a group of friends who slowly start to get infected by something that literally eats the skin, and sadly got butchered with a horrendous remake later. 28 is The Mothman Prophecies. When you have a horror movie that is based loosely on true stories or unsolved mysteries, it's going to be appealing. And The Mothman Prophecies was all around a town who started seeing the Mothman before a disaster happened. And it's sort of investigating what it was connected to. It is very interesting, and when you learn more of the story afterwards, it actually adds another layer to this movie. 27 is The New Guy, which was one of the very first movies which I got an idea for myself out of. It would have been when I first started to use the ideas of early chat rooms, and I always walked in and was called The New Guy, and somehow it's just become a staple of who I am. The original Movie Reviews 101 was called New Guy Reviews. It's my Twitter handle. It's a movie that just does something for me, and it's all about a kid who basically got embarrassed at his old school and then decided to learn how to be cool when he went to a new school, and how he managed to reinvent himself. It's a basic movie, but it's a teen one that just worked for the era and the time. 29 is the original live-action Scooby-Doo. Yes, many people bash this, but we have to take a big thing about this movie is the casting of Mystery Inc. is perfect. Like, no one can say anything bad about the four actors. The mystery is a bit so-so, but again, we have plenty of the comedy you would expect from Scooby, and it also twists a bit of the fact that Shaggy is majorly involved in trying to solve everything. 25 is Snow Dogs. As a dog lover, this movie was one I really enjoyed, and it follows a rich Florida-based dentist who learns that he has a father in Alaska and has to go there, and ends up fighting him to try and prove that he can run the sleigh dogs properly. Plenty of weird usage of CGI type facial reactions on the Huskies, but it was funny for the time. It is funny if you're a dog lover. 24 is Reign of Fire. Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey fighting dragons. Yes, this was a movie that really happened. Doesn't get much talking about, but is absolutely brilliant for what it created. It's one many people need to go and check out. It is so well designed, with a post-apocalyptic world that has been destroyed by dragons, looking like something you would never have imagined. 23 is Death Watch. Again, me jumping into the horror movies I love. This movie follows a unit of soldiers in the war who find an abandoned trench, and in the trench they slowly start to lose their minds because they need to learn what's happening in this trench where evil lies. It has some very good kills in this movie and an all-star British cast. It is another one that I feel not many people around the world would have seen, and is one you really should be checking out. 22 is Van Wilder, a movie that was perfect for Ryan Reynolds back in the day, where he played the super slick college slacker who basically was everyone's go-to guy who needs to make money and decides to sell his ability to throw parties. Yes, it's a bit silly, but it works for the confidence level that Reynolds shows. It showed that he escaped the television series Two Guys and a Girl with ease to jump into this. And if it wasn't for this sort of movie, we wouldn't have, like, what a grown-up Deadpool is kind of what Van Wilder would have been like in college. 21 is Ice Age. This is an animated movie that I really got attached to. It follows three unlikely animals, a saber-toothed tiger, a sloth, and a mammoth, who are trying to escort a baby back to its family after it gets left behind. And it's during the beginning of the Ice Age happening, so the humans are migrating, so they have to follow the migration patterns. And we get to see how they're all reluctant to be together. They're all outsiders in their own way. 20 is Eight-Legged Freaks, a creature feature with giant spiders. What more could you ask for? David Arquette being over the top. Okay, we're sold, we're watching, we're enjoying. Again, another one that just uses everything it had. It knew it was sort of a B-level movie, and it relished that environment, and it's one you're really going to enjoy if you like creature features. 19 is The Ring, and that is the remake of The Ring, which I do still think is actually very good too. I do think both versions are good, but translating this to an American audience is probably the only real time this has worked from an Asian horror. The Grudge gets praise, but it is still set in the whole Asia back setting. They've just changed the nationality of the main character. But with The Ring, we continue the idea really well. Yes, videotapes are out of date now, but again, one that worked for the era, and one that can still have the shock value, even if everybody knows the end sequence, which is the big factor moment. 18 is 25th Hour. This is the Spike Lee movie following a man who is going to prison and gets one day to basically sort out his life, say his goodbyes, and decide whether he wants to just run or face the punishment he's lived for. Edward Norton is absolutely amazing. It has a big message to New York and how everybody's against everyone when they don't need to be. And again, an all-star cast, one to be checking out. One of my favourite Spike Lee movies. 17 is Dog Shoulders. We are returning to another British movie, a werewolf movie about a group of soldiers who get stuck in the woods at a training mission and are being hunted down by werewolves. And these werewolves are a lot different than anything we've seen before. It feels raw, it feels gritty, it feels bloody. It is absolutely delightful to watch. 16 is the original Grudge. Again, the Grudge is the horror movie that is one of the few things that completely freaks me out. I just hate that crackling noise the ghost makes. And for me, it's just one that will always still haunt me. I really don't even like watching the American version either. They capture it well. It's just a noise that not scares me, but freaks me out more than anything. And again, a beautifully told ghost story, which again, for the era, the time, Asia was the place to go for ghost stories. 15 is Red Dragon. While many people don't like this version of the Hannibal Lecter story, it is a very good twist on how everything gets played out. I do like how dark the serial killer is, which is what we need when we watch a gritty movie like this. And again, being a prequel to Silence of the Lambs / a remake of Manhunter, this manages to be everything you want in the third installment of Anthony Hopkins' trilogy of Hannibal Lecter. Number 14 is The Bourne Identity, one of the movies that reinvented the action genre for the mainstream. We were getting a bit lame, shall we say, with the Bond movies. We were running out of like over-the-top glorified explosion movies, so we went with something a lot more raw, close contact fighting, spy-like, something new, and it worked. And it was the beginning of a franchise that has had some ups and downs, shall we say. 13 is Resident Evil, the video game movie that I still watch them over and over again. Yes, they are bonkers, yes, they are silly, but it is just lots of creatures being shot and killed in very large numbers. I can watch the series over and over. I don't care what people think. This one does a very good job of creating the world, keeping everything contained within the Umbrella facility underground, with the idea being let's just escape with the hordes of zombies after them, and other creatures too. 12 is Bubba Hotep. We're back with Bruce Campbell here, and this time Bruce Campbell plays an old version of Elvis alongside Ozzie Davis, who plays an old version of JFK, who are being haunted by a mummy-like figure in a nursing home. Yes, that's the story. It is great. It is one you can really enjoy if you want something with a little bit of humour. 11 is Panic Room, and it follows a mother and daughter who find their dream new location under attack by 3 men who want to steal something that just so happens to be in the panic room, and she needs to try and keep ahead of them as they have to contemplate whether they could just negotiate getting in and out, or they all have to kill them as witnesses. It is very interesting, more complex than it needed to be or wants to be, and one will keep you guessing. Jodie Foster, Forrest Whitaker are outstanding as well. The biggest ones I haven't seen are Chicago. Yes, the one that won all the Oscars I have yet to see. Adaptation, another one. I'm not the biggest fan of the director anyway, as I still have not seen being John Malkovich. It's just a style that makes me wonder whether I would enjoy it. And Irreversible. It's one with the biggest reputation. It just feels like it has to be one I might have to see one day. Number 10 is Equilibrium. When The Matrix was in full motion, we had all this slow motion fighting. Equilibrium brought us Matrix meets 1984, where we're in a world where you cannot think, feel, or have an original opinion, and if you do, you will be executed. And Christian Bale plays the man who learns that this isn't going to be right. Again, it's a beautifully created world, great choreography fights, something you're going to enjoy if you like an action movie with a little bit of a twist on the sci-fi ideas. Number 9 is Blade 2, which is probably the best of the Blade movies. It is by Guillermo del Toro, so we know we're going to have a few more fantasy elements. We get a new creation of vampires, which I guess may have come from the comic books. I have not read them. We have Blade having to actually team up with vampires to fight a new threat which could cause the end of both humans and vampires. And again, we have what we need. Everything. Big bloody battles. It's all there for us to enjoy. Number 8 is Road to Perdition. This is the Tom Hanks gangster movie where he plays a hitman who wants out and they don't want to let him go, and he goes on the run with his son while they have multiple people trying to hunt him down. It is personally one of my favourite Tom Hanks movies, one that doesn't get enough praise because it is a lot darker than his cheery ones, shall we call him that. But again, Tom Hanks, what can you say? He's a little god of an actor. 7 is 1 Hour Photo. Robin Williams brought out one of the scariest, disturbing horror movie-ish movies you're ever going to see, where he plays a photo developer who has become obsessed with one family, and he snaps when he learns that the husband is having an affair, and it gets so dark, so twisted, and he's just trying to do the right thing without thinking what he's doing, and you'll barely recognise Robin Williams in this role. Number 6 is Treasure Planet. Yeah, it's my favourite Disney Disney animated movie, not live action. One day it'll come to us. But it's basically a space version of Treasure Island, where Jim has to go to a treasure planet. Yeah, okay. It has a great soundtrack. It has a great speech. The creations of the different species is beautiful because they're all having different levels of fear. And while Jim is just a human, everyone else is not. And it just adds something to the multicultural idea of what Treasure Island once had. Films I didn't enjoy. Die Another Day. It was a weird year, 2002. There weren't many movies I didn't really like. Just The special effects in this movie are awful, let's be honest. Number 5 is Insomnia, and we're back with Robin Williams. But joining him are Al Pacino and Hilary Swank in this remake by Christopher Nolan. That follows a detective who has to travel to Alaska for his latest case, and he ends up having to play a proper cat and mouse chase with Robin Williams' character, where they're both haunted by what they've done. It's a really intriguing horror action movie even. Number 4 is Catch Me If You Can. Tom Hanks is back and he's chasing DiCaprio. And this movie is all about a con artist who escaped capture for years, faking his jobs, but they have a weird, unique friendship as well. Both DiCaprio and Hanks are fantastic, as you would expect from two of the greatest of all time. Number 3 is Signs. This could be considered the beginning of the end of M. Night's rise, but Signs follows a farmer and his family who start getting visits from aliens, and it's what they want. I know that the ending has been considered widely it's too coincidental, but hell, it worked really well at the time. One you can enjoy, and one you should be giving a go to. Number 2 is Minority Report. Tom Cruise and Spielberg. 2 Spielbergs in the top 5? What's going on? This one follows the idea of stopping crime before it happens, but then it gets turned on its head when the lead detective gets a precog say that they've committed a crime, and they have to try and figure out what it is before it is too late, or whether he will be put in the jail of the pre-criminals, shall we say. And what to expect, Tom Cruise shines as an action star. But what will number 1 be? 28 Days Later. Another British horror. It was a great year for British horror, 2002, wasn't it? This one follows a man who wakes up and finds the world has been taken over by zombies, and he has to then figure out how to survive, with a few help along the way. Again, we just have a zombie movie basically, set in London with some of the most beautiful shots you're ever going to see. Cillian Murphy burst onto the scene with this role, and Danny Boyle proved once again that he is one of the best directors because he can jump between genres. So that's my list for 2002. Let me know in the comments below what your favourite movies from 2002 are, and whether you agree with any of the ones that are on my list. I know a lot of people are going to say why wasn't a certain movie on the list, but let me know in the comments below why it should have been. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.